She turns toward the wall because it's easier than pretending sleep will come. The in-room is small, smaller than she expected, smaller than anyone would choose if there were alternatives. A single bed pushed against one wall, a narrow washstand beneath the window, a fire struggling in the hearth against the damp night air. And behind her, the Duke, lying close enough that she can feel the heat of him through the mattress. "Stop moving," she murmurs, more to herself than to him. "I haven't," he replies calmly. She stiffens. He's right. The mattress shifts only because she does. Outside, the wind scrapes rain against the shutters. The storm that forced them to stop here has no intention of easing. The roads are impassable. The inn is full. And this room, this single room, was the only one left. She had argued. He had listened. Then he had accepted it without comment, as if sharing a bed with her were simply another logistical inconvenience. She pulls the blanket higher around her shoulders and stares at the wall. "We could take turns sleeping," she says. "Yes. You first." "No." She exhales sharply. "Why not?" "Because you won't," he replies. She hates that he knows. The silence stretches, thick and intimate in a way she refuses to acknowledge. "You don't have to face the wall," he says after a moment. "Yes, I do." "Why?" "Because I don't intend to wake up pressed against you," she replies. A pause. "You already are," he says evenly. Her breath catches despite herself. She becomes suddenly, acutely aware of everything she has been trying to ignore. The solid line of his body at her back, the warmth of his chest rising and falling, the way his presence feels deliberate even in stillness. She shifts, trying to create space. The bed does not allow it. The wall does not allow it. And he does not move away. "Don't," she warns quietly. "I'm not touching you," he says. "You're too close." "Yes." That's not reassuring. "No," he agrees. "It's accurate." She closes her eyes, jaw tight. "You could sleep on the floor," she says. "I could," he replies. "But you won't." "No." She turns her head just enough to glare back at him. "You're enjoying this." "No," he says calmly. "I'm enduring it." "That's not how it feels." "That," he replies, "is because you're facing the wrong direction." She turns back to the wall, heart pounding. "You always sound so composed," she mutters. "Even when you shouldn't. And you always pretend you aren't affected," he says. "Even when you are." She stiffens. "I'm not." "No," he agrees. "You're just very aware." The rain intensifies, drumming harder against the shutters. The fire pops softly. Minutes pass. Neither of them sleeps. She adjusts the blanket again, pulling it tighter around herself. "I don't like this," she says quietly. "I know. You don't apologize much." "No." "And you don't offer reassurance." "No." "That makes you very difficult to share a bed with." "That," he says calmly, "makes me predictable." She lets out a breath that's half a laugh, half a sigh. "You could at least pretend this isn't awkward." "It isn't," he replies. She turns her head sharply. "You can't possibly mean that." "I do," he says. "Because awkwardness comes from uncertainty. And I'm quite certain of my restraint." That sends a shiver through her that has nothing to do with cold. She lies still, listening to the rain, counting breaths that refuse to slow. "You shouldn't be this close," she murmurs. "I haven't moved," he repeats. And yet," he finishes, "you haven't asked me to." She swallows. She hates that he's right. She hates more that she doesn't want to say it. Time passes strangely in the dark. The inn settles. Footsteps fade. Voices quiet. The world narrows to firelight shadows and the shared warmth beneath the blankets. She relaxes despite herself. Just a little. Enough to notice the rhythm of his breathing. The steady rise and fall of his chest behind her. The fact that he has not once tried to touch her. Not her waist, not her arm, not even by accident. That restraint feels louder than action. "You're very controlled," she says softly. "Yes. And you expect me to be comfortable with that." "No," he replies. "I expect you to notice it." She exhales slowly. "You could turn away," she says. "I could. But you don't." "No." "Why?" A pause. "Because you chose the wall," he says. "Not distance." Her breath stutters. That's not the same. No, he agrees. But it's adjacent. She shifts again, turning slightly, not enough to face him but enough that the space between them changes. His arm brushes her back. Just barely. He freezes immediately. I'm sorry, he says quietly. The apology surprises her. She lies there, heart pounding, suddenly acutely aware of the contact. The heat of his arm, the solidity of him behind her. It's fine, she says after a moment. He does not move. You don't have to pull away like that, she adds. Another pause. You're sure, he asks. Yes. He adjusts minutely, settling again, but this time his arm remains close. Not touching. Waiting. The space between them hums with something unspoken. You could pull me closer, she says suddenly, surprising herself. He goes completely still. I could, he replies. But you won't. No. She turns her head enough to see his face in the low firelight. His expression is calm, composed, but his eyes are dark, focused entirely on her. Why not? She asks. Because you're testing me, he says. Not asking. Her heart races. And if I were asking, I would, he replies quietly. The honesty lands heavier than any flirtation could. She turns back toward the wall, mind racing. She hadn't meant to say it. Or maybe she had. The rain begins to ease outside, though the night remains heavy. Minutes stretch. Her muscles relax slowly, inevitably. She drifts toward sleep, only to jolt awake when she feels his hand settle at her waist. Not gripping. Not pulling. Just there. Anchoring. She inhales sharply. Is this a mistake? She whispers. He leans closer, his breath warm against the back of her neck. Only if you want it to be, he says. Her pulse thunders. You said you wouldn't touch me. I said I wouldn't without permission, he replies. She closes her eyes. The wall no longer feels like protection, feels like avoidance. She turns, slowly, deliberately, until she faces him. Their faces are inches apart now, sharing breath, the dim firelight catching in his eyes. You should sleep, he says softly. So should you. Yes. Neither of them moves. The bed is too small. The night too quiet. You don't look away, she whispers. No, he replies. And neither do you. Her hand lifts without conscious thought, resting lightly against his chest. She feels his heart beat beneath her palm. Steady. Certain. You pulled me back earlier, she murmurs. Yes. And I stayed. Yes. Silence stretches between them, heavy with understanding. She draws a slow breath. Then don't let go now, she says. His hand tightens slightly at her waist. Not claiming, not restraining. Holding. I won't, he says. She rests her forehead against his, eyes closing. For the first time that night, she doesn't face the wall. And when sleep finally claims her, it does so with the certainty of his presence behind her. Close, warm, and no longer pretending distance is what either of them wants. She wakes slowly, not because the room is quiet, but because it isn't. Rain still taps faintly at the shutters, softer now, less insistent. The fire has burned down to embers, casting a low orange glow across the room. The inn smells of damp wood and ash and something warmer beneath it. Shared air, shared presence. She realizes first that she is warm. Then she realizes why. The Duke is behind her, closer than before, his arm resting securely around her waist. Not tight, not confining, simply there, as if it has always belonged in that place. Her back fits against his chest with unsettling ease. For a moment panic flares. Then memory follows. The wall. The turn. Her words in the dark. Don't let go now. He hasn't. She lies still, testing the moment. Testing herself. His breathing is steady, deep, the kind that suggests sleep. But when she shifts slightly, his arm tightens just a fraction, instinctive and immediate. You're awake, he murmurs. Yes, she admits quietly. Did I? He pauses, then finishes carefully. Overstep. She considers the question, the honesty of it. No, she says. You stayed exactly where you were. His arm relaxes again, but he does not move away. Good, he replies. She turns her head slightly, enough to see his face in the low light. His eyes are open, dark and attentive, already focused on her. You didn't face the wall this time, he says. No, she agrees. Silence stretches between them, unhurried and intimate. Outside, the storm has passed. Morning will come soon. This will look improper, she says softly. Yes. And you don't care. I care, he replies. I simply won't deny it. She exhales a quiet breath that feels like release. She shifts again, turning more fully toward him until they lie facing one another. The bed protests softly at the movement, reminding her how little space there truly is. You're very calm, she says. Yes. And you always seem certain. No, he says. I'm simply decisive once certainty arrives. And has it? He studies her face, the loosened hair, the softened lines of her expression. Yes. Her heart skips. She lifts her hand, brushing her fingers lightly against his sleeve, testing, asking without words. He does not flinch, does not pull away. His hand moves instead, sliding from her waist to her back, drawing her just a little closer. The contact is unhurried, intimate, undeniable. This is the part, she murmurs, where people usually rush. Yes, he agrees. I don't intend to. She smiles faintly. Good. They lie there, breathing together, the moment stretching without pressure. She becomes aware of the world again slowly, the narrowness of the room, the small bed, the thin walls that will not keep secrets if they are careless. We'll have to leave soon, she says. Yes. And face questions. Yes. She meets his gaze. You won't pretend this was nothing. No, he replies. I don't do that. And you won't speak for me. No. That steadies her more than anything else. She shifts closer, resting her forehead lightly against his. He responds immediately, his other arm coming around her so that she is fully enclosed, not trapped but held. Last night, she says quietly, when I tried to face the wall. Yes. I thought distance would make this easier. And did it? She shakes her head slightly. It only made me more aware of you. A corner of his mouth lifts. That, he says, is why I didn't move. She laughs softly. You're insufferable. Yes. And patient. Yes. She hesitates, then asks the question that has been forming since the night before. What happens after this? He does not answer immediately. When the road is clear, he says at last, we'll continue our journey. And after that? We'll continue this, he replies simply. Her breath catches. You say that as if it's uncomplicated. It isn't, he agrees. But it is intentional. She studies his face, searching for hesitation. Finds none. You don't promise lightly, she says. No. And you don't stay where you don't mean to. No. She nods once, decision settling. Then neither do I. He leans in then, pressing his forehead to hers again, their noses brushing lightly. The closeness is intimate without urgency, charged without demand. This is where we stop pretending, she says softly. Yes, he agrees. Their lips meet. Not rushed, not desperate. The kiss is slow, deliberate. A continuation rather than a beginning. His hand settles more firmly at her back, anchoring her as she exhales against him. When they part, it's with reluctance, but also with calm. Morning light begins to creep through the edges of the shutters, pale and unassuming. We should rise, she says. Yes. Neither of them does. After a moment, she laughs quietly. You're doing it again. He lifts a brow slightly. Doing what? Letting me decide when we move, she says. Yes. She shifts, sitting up slowly, gathering the blanket around herself. He follows a moment later, giving her space without withdrawing completely. As they dress, unhurried, deliberate, there is no awkwardness, no sudden retreat into formality, just quiet awareness. When she ties her hair back, his gaze follows the movement. Don't look at me like that, she says lightly. He does not look away. No, he says. I won't. She meets his gaze, steady and unflinching now. Good, she replies. They leave the room together. The inn is already awake, voices below, the smell of bread and coffee drifting up the stairs. The world has resumed, indifferent to the fact that something quietly irrevocable has shifted.